We are, I know it's a slow news week this week, obviously, but we got very lucky, Brad, given that we record on Tuesday nights, obviously. Next week, next Tuesday is Indiana's slot for Big Ten Media Days. So I was a little bit of afraid that we were going to have to do like a Media Days preview, which how do you do that? Because you have to do it based off the questions people are going to ask and all that yada, yada, good stuff, whatever. But we're going to be live next week with the reactions, with all the Signetti quotes. We're going to get Aiden Fisher. We're going to get Mikhail Kamara. And is it
Elijah Surratt.
Surratt? Okay, it is Surratt. I didn't know if it was Surratt or Carter Smith, and I was trying to look it up and I couldn't find it. I was like,
no, it's seniors only. You know my rule with I
keep forgetting Carter Smith has eligibility left. That's so crazy.
You know my rule with Media Day, right? Seniors only. That'd be like if I was the coach, like it's seniors only. Like,
seniors and no transfers.
Even though, you want to go to Media Day so bad, maybe come back for your 4th year of eligibility. Maybe do that.
But last year we got obviously the Mike Kadick ballet story. We got to meet Aiden Fisher. We got to meet Justice Ellison. Like it's just a really cool time to allow people outside the Indiana space to ask these kids questions. And then obviously we're going to get multiple media appearances from Sig. I believe he totaled like an hour of screen time last year. I will caution. Not a caution, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit more of a reserve Signetti this year, given that how easily he's able to fire up the fan base now. Like, yeah, we could still get like the rah-rah, like Purdue sucks, like all that good stuff. But I don't know if that's necessary to like drive excitement. I think he really just has to say anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was slightly more reserved. That being said, it's Curt Signetti. So anytime he steps near a microphone, it's electric. We're going to be watching for sure.
They're definitely going to pry at him, try to get some of that good material from him. I don't know how much he's going to bite, though. He's pretty he can be reserved when he needs to. He's actually generally pretty to the chest and only says things that he truly means. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a big day for you as you got a day of
it makes
and present it to me, which is really nice that I don't have to. I just get kind of live. I'm just going to go to work and then I'm going to come back from work and then you're going to tell me what happened at Media Day. I can't wait. I can't wait for that episode. It's going to be awesome.
It makes my job easy because I'm just going to sit down, take notes on it, and then I'll have my thoughts fresh in mind for the live show, for a live reaction. So definitely very excited. I think we recorded like the day after last year, or maybe it was even that night. So I think this is kind of like a theme for us.
Yeah.
We're big Media Day. I'm a big Media Day guy. I love Media Day.
We cover every single media thing that happens when it comes to Indiana football. So you don't have to worry about missing out on anything on this show.
Like obviously I'm deep in Indiana football. Like I'm following along pretty much daily. No, I wouldn't say pretty much, like daily. But in terms of like what else is going on in the country, like I'm following major storylines and this and that. But like I don't really I'm not listening to other coaches, pressers, or whatnot, and what these other teams do with Signetti. Like I'm just not going and doing that. So having an event like Media Days where you can go and you can listen, see where people think their teams are, listen to their players, and kind of learn about these guys as humans rather than just football players. It's as a fan of media, fan of sports media, like I like these big collections of like, let's figure some stuff out today.
Yeah. And it's kind of a shame that we won't see Hoosier the Bison there. You know, we were seeing all the they're all in Chicago, all the mascots and stuff like that. So I'm just going to call back to Hoosier. It'll be nice to have him at Media Day next year, but yeah, everything will be good. We're bringing some true star power. I don't know how many other people are bringing 3 preseason All-Americans to their Media
Well, not many people have 3 preseason All-Americans. It's a very small list. It's a very small list. Yeah, we got the Phil Steele All-Americans graphic, but obviously Brad's got his Phil Steele book highlighted, so we've been.
Yeah, I already knew about that. I'm pretty sure I probably revealed it on this show.
I want to talk Indiana recruiting really quick in terms of the class of 2026. There was a couple guys that had Indiana in their top 3, top 5 last week. Nick Reddish ended up committing to Notre Dame. Cottrell Webb, I believe, was the defensive lineman who ended up going to Purdue. Reddish had Notre Dame smoke pretty much since his visit. That was all but decided. In terms of Indiana and Webb, it seemed like for a period of time that they were going to be a match. But if you look at the depth Indiana built in their defensive line room in between, like when he decided to make his decision, it's a deep room. So yeah, obviously adding another talented kid into that room would have been awesome. But it's like I don't know if I would necessarily, even though they are technically recruiting losses, right? Because they're in those battles. I'm not sure if Indiana was fighting tooth and nail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it really just came down to the Ronell Johnson commitment. I think once they got Ronell, I think it was just kind of like we don't have room. I mean, if you want to count it up, we got 60 line commitments coming in. Right now, they have currently on scholarship 16 D linemen.
It really
So
did.
the math just doesn't math. You know, if you're going to bring in 6 every year, that the math just doesn't math in terms of how they like to construct that D line room.
It really did feel like their class kind of ended. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Kind of after the Ronell Johnson commitment, after Walker Bryson, like there are a couple guys that they're still in the mix for. Jaquaden Guilford rescheduled his commitment. That's going to be later this week, the 18th. There's still a ton of like Ole Miss, Ohio State smoke with him. So I'm not exactly expecting him to commit to Indiana, although that'd be a really cool talent to bring into the program. And then there's Cortez Redding, whose commitment date is July 27th, who Indiana was heavily linked to for a while. So I would say he's probably the most likely of anyone else left on the board to be a commitment before the season starts. But I mean, what is their class at? What, 20, 21, 22? Like they have a great class. They're an unbelievable flip location for like when they play well again this year and people can buy in even more. And they're just quickly, or as time passes, they're just breaking down that barrier to long-term recruiting where first year nobody knows who you are and it's really hard to build those relationships versus a school that's had 4 5 6 years to build relationships with kids, and every year that passes, like you just get to recruit like get more and more ahead of recruiting. And so we're trending in a really good direction.
Yeah, I like where things are going. You know, we're stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months, stacking years. So it's when it comes to recruiting, I'd say we're right on schedule. We're not ahead of schedule. We're not behind schedule. We're just right on track in terms of where I would expect us to be following, an 11-2 season in first year of Signetti in a world where, there probably is some perception like, can they do it again? Can they, I think when you want to commit to a school for 3 or 4 years, you want to be able to see that they're able to stack 10-win seasons. And once you stack 10-win seasons, then all of a sudden you're getting your pick, you're getting your guys. You're getting your pick of the litter. So but then again, then we're in a rat race with Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, which are places that we've won recruiting battles, but it's also places we've lost recruiting battles. Think Luke Fahey, think Juju Lewis. So I mean,
We can
it just
talk
takes
the
time.
we can talk the Fahey thing real quick because I made the comment that the way that, and I didn't read the article. I'm not an On3 subscriber, so like if there was different context in the article that maybe changed the way it was framed, I just personally don't know that. But the way it was framed was extremely odd. Like it was pretty obvious when it was publicly stated by the Fahey family and by Luke Fahey that Ohio State was a dream school. That if he got offered by them, he was probably going there. Then you look at what Ohio State is doing in the class of 2025, and they weren't recruiting another quarterback. So they bring the kid in on a visit and then make him wait to get his offer. So he's sitting at the airport, I guess, allegedly, like wait, like in between who he's going to. The whole thing just seems super odd. Obviously, wish the kid nothing but the best. Kurt Signetti was recruiting him, so he's got to have some talent. But it's just like my question became like, why does something like that get released? Because it doesn't benefit Ohio State. If anything, it makes it look like they were just like jerking the kid around and to play mind games with him. It's a weird look for Indiana because it's like it would have been IU if it wasn't this. So I don't know. Like I don't want to really speculate on what that could have meant and who that could have came from, but I just thought the whole thing was extremely odd given how it's been postured publicly. Essentially, his recruitment for the last month and a half was like it's Ohio State or it's going to be somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know.
I think at the end of the day, it's just an article about the 4-star quarterback that committed to Ohio State. I really don't think it's anything more than that. And just kind of explaining what happened like that. That's a very normal kind of recruiting motion. Is that like you're in waiting. You have this offer. You're probably going to commit, but you're kind of waiting on that dream school, that one offer where they're kind of talking to you. You don't know if it's coming, but you're kind of just waiting on it. I think that's just what happened. He was waiting on the Ohio State offer. Clear history with sending quarterbacks to the league.
Well, I mean, no, I get
Will
all
Howard,
of
Kyle
that.
McCord, Justin Smith. Justin Fields. Fucking who else played there? I don't know.
No, listen, I get all of that, but like to position the headline as like I don't know, it just why is Indiana even being mentioned there? Like it wasn't. It's not like it was like it came down to the wire and there were 2 pitches and one like they had to think about the pitches and one of them won. It was like no, there was one of them was going to be the automatic yes, and it happened. So there is no battle at that point. It's not a battle. You know what I mean? Like it was.
No, I know what you mean.
So it's like to frame it that way. I don't know.
Purcell.
I have some thoughts. It's just like, and I've seen a lot of people say like, well, Indiana will just grab him in the transfer portal if he hits the portal. It's like that's not really Indiana's MO either. Like Indiana has brought in Curtis Rourke from the transfer portal and Fernando Mendoza. Like what do those 2 guys have in common? It's loads and loads of playing time. And if you're going to get a shitload of playing time at Ohio State early, you're probably not transferring. And if you are transferring, it means you probably weren't playing and you're looking for playing time. And yes, Indiana did. I think they were looking to bring in Bo Prabula, the kid who transferred from Penn State, who ended up at Mizzou, and he played sparingly and like talented kid. But it's just not, and obviously trends can change, but it's just not something we've seen from this class. So it's like, I wish Luke Fahey the best, but I think that was like it for Luke Fahey and the Hoosiers, which is okay.
Yeah. And yeah, John makes a good point. Like we're kind of already moving on to 2027 here. You brought up Jamison Purcell here in the chat, the lefty kid from Park Ridge, Illinois. I'm literally staring right at it right now because I live in Illinois, John. And, and yeah, that'd be huge if we can get him to commit early. I think that's a big thing. Like we had a delay in receivers, mostly because we had a delay in who we're going to take as our quarterback between all the Brody McWhorter stuff, the Luke Fahey, and then end up being Cash Herrera, who had the best name out of all of them. So I'm taking him. And yeah, it'd be huge if we can get him early, especially considering that we're heavily in the running for in the Showtime sales sweepstakes, which I would call sweepstakes because I mean, we're talking 6'5" track speed, right? Like it's a sweepstakes. That does not grow on trees. No.
Whoever he is a room changer, whichever room he walks into, whether that's Indiana or any other school in the country that produces elite wide receivers. Like that's one of those kids that just like you can place him in any program and he's going to the league. Like it's like, where do you want to be?
Yeah.
The other thing recruiting wise that happened this week was Rivals 300. The new one just dropped. And like, I only mentioned this to say like, who cares? And there was 3 Indiana kids listed in there. It was Olinger and Ronell Johnson and I believe Gabe Hill. So shout out to those guys, but it's like, I don't need On3's top 300 to tell me Henry Olinger is a monster. Like you could turn on the film, you watch the kid work out. I mean, I don't know why I like didn't think of him this way when he like committed, but when you see these kids on paper and you just see the size they're listed at and you're like, yeah, like high school or whatever, you watch him on film and you watch the kid work out and he's ginormous already. Like he could probably step on the field physically and play this year. Like he is a massive high schooler.
Yeah. I think what people forget a lot in recruiting is that these are literally 18-year-olds. Like they're going to look so different in 2-3 years. And it's like definitely the hardest. It's like it's almost easier to project a college player to the NFL than it is to project a high school player to the college level, in the sense that like they're literally turning from boys to men. So it's like, who's to say? Like, don't put too much weight into these rankings. I actually have a funny story. So Oregon brought in this quarterback named Beaver, right? And he was a Boise State commit at first. He jumped 800 spots after his Oregon commitment. 800 spots. You're telling me an Elite 11 camp is going to make him jump 800 spots? You're out of your mind. Clearly, it's just they're just going with the brand, right? Like it's just how money. It goes, and it's all, a lot of it is politics. Like I'm not going to say they're completely inaccurate. I think there is some merit to them, right? Like, I think you want to shoot for a class that's in the top 25, but in the sense of, I'm going to blow John's brain out with the micro macro.
It's so funny because I full blown agree
like
I so agree with your point and the way you make it that it's like, to me, you're just speaking by language.
Yeah. In a macro sense, like, you want the top 25 class. In a micro sense, like, is this Beaver kid going to be good? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Is Gabe Hill going to be good? I don't know. Like, it doesn't, at the end of the day, we don't know. It's just about trusting the system, trusting Signetti's evaluation of character and physical potential and natural football skill and IQ to be able to translate and play in the Big Ten not just in the Big Ten, but in the national scene, which is what Indiana wants to do and going to the playoff every year. So it's all, a lot of it is it's just hard to project. And a lot of a guy commits to Indiana, he's not going to jump up 800 spots because Indiana isn't Oregon.
Not yet.
In the eyes of, in the perception and all the clickbaits and all the media and all that, right?
That's why I go to Buffton trying
things
for
could
my
change.
rankings.
Things could change October 11th, right? One's circled on my calendar. Yeah, October 11th. And one is both teams coming off byes. We're going to Oregon. It's gonna be a big one. It's going to be on CBS or NBC or ESPN game day. Who knows? It's going to be a big one. I'm not too sure where it's going to be, but stacking days, stacking weeks, stacking months, stacking years. Just take a deep breath and everything's fine. Like I said, we're on track with recruiting. I don't see anything wrong here. The only real red flags for me in terms of this program would be like maybe rescheduling Virginia. Like why is that about it? Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Like that's what people are up in arms about.